and May Day, International Workers' Day, a day to celebrate the worker, but also a day to acknowledge a system that isn't working for the many, but only for the few. The system called capitalism, a system failing hundreds of millions worldwide. Let's talk about it. The destitute, the overworked, the underpaid, the tired, the ones struggling to keep their heads above water, drowning in a sea of bills, mortgages, car payments, exorbitant health bills, and the ever-increasing cost of living. This isn't a coincidence, it's capitalism. This isn't merely about complaining, it's about facing a brutal and harsh reality. Capitalism thrives on the exploitation of the majority of humankind and the natural environment. It needs a large part of the population always on the edge, desperately trying to survive. It's a system designed to benefit the few, not the many. The 1st of May or May Day isn't just a random date. It marks a pivotal moment in history, the Haymarket Affair, working people fighting for an 8-hour workday, for dignity, for their lives, for the survival of themselves and their families. Their struggle is our struggle. Over a century later, we're still fighting for basic rights, for fair wages, hoping to find decent jobs for a system that values human life over huge profit margins. It's time to remember our history, remember those who came before us, remember their sacrifices, remember what May Day truly stands for. It's a day for solidarity, a day for change, a day to demand better, a day for people the world over to call for the end to capitalism. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. Sound familiar? This is life under capitalism for hundreds of millions of people throughout the world. An endless cycle of toil just to survive. It's a system that demands your time, your energy, your very essence. And for what? You're told to work hard, climb the ladder. But we know that only a few get to climb the ladder, and even fewer get to the top rungs of the ladder. Such is the design of capitalism. You're stuck in a race you can't win. A race designed to keep you running, not to let you arrive. Capitalism is a system rigged against us. It's about the countless hours spent enriching someone else while you struggle to make ends meet. It's about the crushing weight of knowing that no matter how hard you work, it'll never be enough. Capitalism whispers sweet lies. It tells you you're free, free to choose your job, your life, your destiny. But are you really free when the only choices are really between survival or slow death by capitalist design? You are told to get a job if you want a life, but what if there are few or no jobs? What if the system itself limits your options, keeps you trapped in a cycle of low wages and dead-end jobs? Capitalism tells you that it's about personal responsibility, but it's a system designed to limit your choices, to funnel you into predetermined paths that benefit the 1% in the world. It's about the illusion of freedom, while the reality is a carefully constructed cage. It's the iron cage of capitalism. There is no escaping it. True freedom will only be possible when capitalism is finally ended. Remember those dreams you had, the ones about making a difference, about pursuing your passions? Capitalism has a way of crushing those, doesn't it? It tells you to be realistic, to get a real job. Suddenly your dreams become burdens, your passions a luxury you can't afford. You're forced to choose between survival and fulfillment, and that's no choice at all. It's a system that suffocates aspiration. It's about the soul-crushing reality of being trapped in a world that prioritizes endless profit over people, leaving you feeling hopeless and defeated. Let's talk about the cost of living. Rents and mortgages sky high. Groceries, forget about it. Healthcare, a sick joke. And wages, stagnant. It's a perfect storm designed to keep you drowning in debt. They tell us it's about supply and demand, but what they don't tell you is that capitalism itself manipulates both. It's about maximizing profits, even if it means squeezing every last penny from your pocket. It's about the impossible choices you have to make every single day. Do you pay rent or buy groceries? Do you fill your prescriptions or keep the lights on? These aren't choices, they're dilemmas. They are daily worries and stresses. You work harder and harder just to stay afloat. Longer hours, second jobs, side hustles. You're exhausted, burnt out, running on fumes. No time for the kids. Under capitalism, time is money, not to spend valuable time with loved ones. The moment you slow down, capitalism reminds you to keep moving. It has a way of telling you that you're expendable. Capitalism tells you that it is about individual failings. It does not tell you that it's a system that thrives on exploitation. It extracts your labor, your time, your health, your energy, your emotions, leaving you drained and depleted. They tell you to work smarter, not harder. But what they mean is find new ways to be servants to capitalism, new ways to give more of yourself to a system that doesn't care if you live or die. It's predatory, it's parasitic, it's unsustainable, and it's breaking us on a daily basis. Capitalism wears us down. Capitalism is slow death by design. The fact of the matter is that capitalism is on life support, always supported by governments the world over. It needs constant bailouts, endless growth, and a steady supply of cheap labor to survive. It's a house of cards built on a foundation of inequality and injustice. They tell us it's the only way, that there's no alternative, but that's simply not true. Throughout history, people have organized, resisted, imagined, and built a better world. And we can do it again. It's time to call for an end to capitalism. This isn't about being anti-economy, it's about being pro-humanity. It's about recognizing that a system that prioritizes endless profit over people, a system that thrives on exploitation and inequality, is a system that's failing us all. Let's talk about finding a job, not just any job, but a decent job. One that pays a living wage, offers some semblance of security, doesn't crush your soul. It's like searching for a unicorn in a landfill. You're told it's out there, but it's buried under mountains of garbage. You send out countless applications, you tailor your resume, write cover letters that would make Shakespeare weep, you network, you interview, you jump through hoops like a circus performer on amphetamines. And for what? The rejections pile up. You're either underqualified or overqualified, too little experience or too much, and the ones that do call back, they offer poverty wages, zero benefits, and the vague promise of growth opportunities that never materialize. You're told to get an education, go to college, get a degree, and the world will be your oyster. Except, surprise! Those pearls of wisdom come with a hefty price tag. Student loan debt, the gift that keeps on taking. You graduate with a mountain of debt and a degree that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot in a heat wave. The jobs you were promised, non-existent. The skills you learned, outdated. The dream of a better life, deferred, indefinitely. You're told it's an investment in your future, but it feels more like a gamble you were forced to take, a game rigged against you from the start, and the house always wins. It's time to end capitalism. Work should be about the money. But work should also be about respect, dignity, fulfillment, the right to work that provides for a decent life, allowing you to contribute without sacrificing your soul. This is not possible as long as capitalism exists. Under capitalism, work becomes a transaction, a drudgery, a means to an end that never justifies the means, and you're treated as a cog in the machine, replaceable, your humanity disregarded for endless profit. This isn't entitlement. It's about the right to a life of dignity, to work that is meaningful and rewarding, to a system that values people over endless profits. It's about reclaiming our humanity from the drudgery of capitalism. It's time to end capitalism. We throw around the word freedom a lot. But let's be honest, under capitalism, most of us are wage slaves, trapped in a system that demands our time and energy. We're shackled to our jobs by necessity. You think you're free to quit? Sure, go ahead, but who's going to pay your rent? Who's going to put food on the table? The system reminds you as to how unfree you really are. This is the reality for hundreds of millions of people around the world, working tirelessly, not to get ahead, but to avoid falling behind. It's a modern form of indentured servitude. Capitalism dangles a carrot, a new phone, a bigger TV. We are made to believe that happiness can be bought, your worth measured by possessions, so you work harder, buy more, with money you don't have. The debt piles up. Your credit card is there to save capitalism from collapse. It's a vicious cycle keeping you perpetually dissatisfied. A system preying on insecurities, distracting us from questioning it. But here's the good news. We don't have to accept this. We can break free from the iron chains of capitalism. We can reject the lie that this is the best we can hope for ourselves and our children. May Day is a reminder of the power of collective action. It should now be a day to call for the end of capitalism. It's a day to remember that we, the people, have the power to change the system. We outnumber the CEOs, the politicians, the 1% who benefit from this rigged game. This isn't about violence or chaos or tearing everything down. It's about ending capitalism through education, democratic participation and action. It's about building a better world together. A world where work is about more than just survival. A world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, not just the privileged few. Let's be clear, capitalism isn't really broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do, concentrate wealth and power in the hands of the 1%, while the rest of us struggle to make ends meet. We're told it's about competition, innovation, the free market. But what we see is monopolies, corporate greed, and a system rigged against the hundreds of millions of people throughout the world, against the 99%. The game is rigged, folks, and the house always wins. We can't keep putting band-aids on a gaping wound. We need a fundamental shift, a paradigm shift, a complete overhaul of capitalism. It's time to end capitalism. Tinkering around the edges of capitalism won't cut it. It's time to stop pretending that a system built on greed can somehow be made fair. So what's the alternative? We the people get to decide. Imagine a future prioritizing people over endless profits, sustainability over endless growth, and cooperation over ruthless competition, where everyone has access to healthcare, education and housing, and plenty of time for creative engagement, where the people have a say, where the environment is protected, not plundered. This isn't a pipe dream. History shows us solidarity, equity and sustainability can help us exit the world of capitalism. It's time to move humankind past the boundaries of capitalism towards a post-capitalist world. We've heard all the excuses before. That's just how the world works. There's no other way. We're done making excuses. We're done accepting crumbs. The truth is, the 1% need us more than we, the 99%, need them. What happens when we say no more? The power lies with us, the people, the 99%. This May Day, let's make our voices heard. Let's join together in solidarity, not just to celebrate International Workers' Day, but to reclaim it as a day of action, a day to call for an end to capitalism. Capitalism is not working. It needs to end. Let's organize in our communities, online and offline. Let's talk to our friends, our families, our neighbors about the need for systemic change. Let's show the world that we're not afraid to demand a better future for ourselves and our families. This isn't about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It's about reclaiming our humanity, our dignity, our right to a life of purpose and fulfillment. It's about building a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, not just survive. This May Day, let's build solidarity and demand an end to capitalism. The time for change is now. It's time to recognize May Day as End Capitalism.